And yeah, I'm excited about it. So we've covered the offensive keys, we've covered the defensive keys. Um, what do you feel good about this game?
Um, I think I feel good about. Honestly, I feel good about getting a win.
Okay.
I feel good about that actually. But in terms of just like actually more in depth, I feel good about Kurt. I feel good about him coming back first game since telling the Achilles, playing and kind of showing us the if he can reach that level he played at before he got injured in Minnesota. Because people forget he had 18 touchdowns and 5 interceptions in 6 games, I believe, before he got hurt. So he was averaging basically 3 touchdowns a game, which that's 21 points right there. So I'd say I feel pretty good about Kirk Cousins coming into this game and kind of just showing us why under Kevin O'Connell he was playing at a really high level as a quarterback and being able to continue that here in Atlanta, which then obviously leads to opportunities in moments for guys like Kyle Pitts, for guys like Bijan, for guys like Drake London, and I like to call underrated in the receiving core, Darnell Mooney as well. So feel really good about Kurt this Sunday.
I feel great about this Sunday. I feel great about Kyle this Sunday. I feel great about Drake this Sunday. I feel great about Bijan this Sunday. Hell, I feel good about the entire team. There's not anybody I don't feel good about. Um, and that's being honest. I really
Mm-hmm.
do. I feel good about that. I don't have any ambiguity about it. I think we'll win the game. What concerns you? And you kind of alluded to it, but what concerns you most about this game?
I mean, I mentioned the Justin Fields two-way dynamic factor. Just being able to contain that. Obviously, Falcons have had a history of not being great against running quarterbacks. I always say sometimes it's hard to be great against running quarterbacks because I mean they're just going to be able to do things that that obviously a normal pocket passer can't do. So obviously just being able to contain him. I'm curious to know, like I said, about the offensive line versus the Steelers' defensive line because this is definitely when you play Pittsburgh, it's always a line of scrimmage type of game.
Yes.
They regardless of what else they got going on,
Yeah.
if they disrupt you on their defensive line, that'll disrupt the entire game plan because Pittsburgh likes playing ugly games.
Yes,
They
they do.
play a lot of ugly games where it's
What?
just
Yes, they
like
do.
17-14, like you're struggling whoever gets to 21 first, like
And
it's not they're not a flashy up and down team.
yeah,
All right. And so the Falcons, obviously, this is a great opportunity for them to show that they are a physical football team and that they have a certain toughness that maybe even you would think Arthur Smith, someone who you think is a tough minded coach, would provide to a team. Showing it against one of the toughest teams in the league would be a big statement, I would think. So if they could match Pittsburgh or out tough Pittsburgh, then I'm good. But if they don't, I'm worried how that impacts because if they dominate the line of scrimmage, that affects the running game, that affects Kirk, that affects what they want to do offensively. And how do they adjust to that? Because they may feel like if it's 14-17, we still have a chance. We feel great about our chances because all we need is one drive. We just
yeah,
need one good drive and we can win that game.
yeah, yeah. My concern is that defensive line. And before I go any further, I just want to say hello to some folks. Obviously, Michael in the chat. How you doing? Welcome. A1 Chris, A1 from day one, forever. Welcome. Guys, Chris did my video that premiered today and a lot of my video work. He's officially my video guy. And if you don't have him, you need him. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Dude is awesome. Deke is in the chat. Deke, how you doing, man? Hopefully all is well. Yeah, man. So yeah, my concern is the defensive line and specifically TJ Watt and keeping Kirk vertical. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's my main concern. Other than that, I'm not too worried about it. I feel like whatever storm we got to take, we can handle. Again, I feel like because they're missing an offensive lineman, because we're raring to go, because we're chomping at the bits and we're at home, I think we get this game. I do. Now, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I very much feel like this game is ours. So With that being said, we're going to go to takeaways. Bryce, what's the impact of the season if the Falcons win or if they lose?
I think it's kind of a weird situation because we already know how tough the stretch is at the beginning of the season. But I feel like people feel like Pittsburgh is the most beatable / we should win game out of it. So obviously, if they lose, I think it will definitely deflate some people a little bit and make people kind of be like, all right, are we back, or are we really, or are we the same old Falcons?
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, if they win, then you're like, great start. We're 1-0. Obviously, Eagles are about to play here in a minute. That's our week 2 opponent, Monday Night Football prime time in Philadelphia. So, it's always good to start the season off with a win just because of it builds excitement. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel like we're at a good start. Obviously, you can lose this game and still have a playoff run. But for this game particularly, it's just good to get off on track, ease any concerns or questions that you have had about this team going into the season, and just making the necessary adjustments needed once you get out of this game as well. I mean, it's just the first game, so it's not the end all be all. But you definitely want to get off to a good start just because it helps set the tone and helps create good vibes within the team, within the fan base as well for the upcoming games and the season ahead.
Good deal, man. Good deal. Mike, Chris, A1, Deke, Carey. If we lose game 1, how are you feeling? Are you worried? Is the season over? All right. So Carrie put her concern in here. Carrie, our productionist from One Time for the Fan, no disrespect to any other podcaster, but Carrie's the best in the business to me. Okay. She's great. And we wouldn't be where we are without her. Carrie says, my concern is TJ Watt versus McGarry and containing Fields. Was hoping we were facing Wilson since he's less mobile. Agreed. That's one of my concerns as well. If we lose this game, it's okay in my eyes. Number one, we did not play the entire preseason, and I don't care what anybody says. There'll be a little bit of rust. Things happen in the first season that are weird. I mean, excuse me, in the first game that are weird. So if we lose, obviously I wouldn't like it because I've talked so much trash at work. I'm gonna have to hear the mouths of some of my coworkers. But I'm not really worried if we lose. If we win, great. Okay. Personally, I think we're gonna beat the dog snot out of the state of Pennsylvania. I said it, I meant it, I'm here to represent it. We're gonna go into Philadelphia and kick their arse. Okay, there. Got a hot take right here. Michael says, not concerned. It's just Ra hooking up Tomlin since he's under more pressure and drama. Okay. I can dig it. Bryce. I'm sorry. Let me get Carrie. Carrie says, thanks, T. Will. Hey, Bryce. Great show, guys. Thank you, Carrie.
Say what's up.
Bryce, with the Falcons' first 4 game of the season being against potential playoff teams, what are the must wins in your eyes in the first 4 games?
I guess the first and the last.
Okay.
I think Philly and Chiefs are more of where are we games.
Yeah.
They're like, okay. And here's the thing. It's early in the season. So what you are in September is not what you're going to be in December.
That's true. That's
so, you can only put so much stock into them. But obviously, you want to win the first game. Clearly. You start off the season great. And then you play the Saints. You always want to beat the Saints. Always want to beat the Saints. Falcons sweep this division. Falcons sweep this division. They're in a great shape for the division. So I would think those are the most must wins of this game. Obviously, Philly, because Philly is a toss up for a lot of fans. And the Chiefs, probably some fans think we're going to lose that game just because, the defending champs, they've been the best team in the league. You're going to always think, all right, we can compete with them, but can we beat them? You know,
Yeah.
we just saw them play against Baltimore last night, and some people may have came out of that game like, man, they're going to be tough to beat. So, you know,
Good, man. I'll tell you what, that Chris Jones dude.
yeah,
Sheesh.
this disrupts games.
That dude right there, man.
So yeah, you know, it'll be interesting. But I think first and the fourth game are the most must wins. Coming out of it 2-2, you're probably feeling pretty good going into a softer part of your schedule.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that 100%. I agree with it so much. I'm not even going to spend any more time on it because you're dead on. My friend Jack Spade from One Time for the Fan, my dude, my guy says, "What's going on, y'all? Bryce, what's good? Jack, what is good?" All right, so we are at the part of the show where we're going to ask for some predictions, game predictions. All right, Bryce, who wins this first game? What's the score? And give me Kirk's stats and how many points the defense is going to give up.
Okay. So I think Falcons win.
Okay.
Um, I'll go. I'll go 28-20.
Okay.
I'll go 28-20. I think they get 20 because of garbage time.
Okay.
I think Kirk Cousins throws for 3 tutties. If I'm being honest, 3 tutties.
Okay.
Probably drops back between 35, 40 times, I would think. Maybe, obviously, if it's a good day running the football, probably closer to 30. But, you know, I could see them getting a rhythm, and, you know, he's doing his thing. He's balling. You hooping to the guys. But yeah, then obviously the defense letting up 20 points. Which I think is, I mean, I always say if you're able to keep a team to below 21 points, you have a chance. Because, you know, I feel like that's like the standard. If you don't let them get above 21, you'll have a chance in the game, usually. So, which the defense, I think, was on a run last year where they didn't let up more than 21 points for like a few weeks.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be like brand new territory for this team. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at that, looking at Kurt playing well, going 3 touchdowns in his return game. Drake catches one. I think Pitts catches one. And I think Mooney gets one as well.
All right. Good deal. Good deal. Jack says, "Doing a great job, T. Will. I paid him to say that. Thanks, Jack. I appreciate it." Jack also says, "I have the score 75-3. Damn, Jack. Okay. Wow. Jack says, "Steelers kick field goal with 10 seconds left in the game." Damn. 75-3. I'd like to think we'd see Mr. Penix. Carrie, don't you say it. Carrie, don't you say it. Don't you drop it in there, Carrie. Carrie has this saying that we all know. And if she does, I'm going to have to drop a pause on you. Okay. So I'm going to say 20. I'm going to say 28-17. I agree. Kirk throws for 350. I'm going to say 2 touchdowns. Bijan gets another 2. And the last touchdown is garbage time, and they get it in. And yeah, that's how I feel about that. So that's what we're gonna go with that. All right. So Bryce, who wins the NFL? Who wins the NFC South? And what's the record of the team that does?
I think Falcons win the NFC South. I think 12-5.
Okay.
12-5. I'll go a little higher. 12-5.
Okay.
For them, I think they'll get on a run for sure, and that's when they really create separation. Especially, this is me again predicting they'll sweep the division.
Okay.
So if they do that, they'll be in great shape, I would think, to win this. I mean, they'll have all the tiebreakers, so they just gotta have a better record, or at least the same record in their end.
That's a good point. How far can this team ultimately go in your eyes, and why?
I mean, I think the ceiling is whatever this team wants it to be.
Okay.
Because I mean, if you think about the last time we made the Super Bowl, I mean, did we come out of an 8-8 season going into that next year thinking we're going to be a Super Bowl team?
We did not. We definitely
So,
did not. We did not.
so I mean, for me, it's if things line up, they get the right matchups. Shoot, luck happens. Maybe you get some key injuries to the other teams that you play. Sounds like you could be a Super Bowl team. It's not like this isn't a team that I feel like, oh yeah, there's definitely a ceiling on this team. Like there's no way. Like no, like NFC, pretty much you know who you got to go through. 49ers.
Yeah.
That's the team. You got to beat them.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you know, the Lions are a team also to keep out. You have a lot of good, nice teams in the NFC that you have to get through.
Mm-hmm.
But like the team you have to get through is the remaining NFC champions, which is the 49ers.
Agreed.
So you got to be prepared to potentially have to play in San Francisco NFC championship game unless you're able to get home field. Or the 49ers have a less than appealing season that they were supposed to have. And no, like we got to beat these guys if we're going to take that next step. And even, like I said, even Detroit too, because they beat you last year and they won the NFC championship game as well. So they can do that. I think there's a very good chance they can make the Super Bowl this year and represent the NFC in New Orleans. So, which would be fun.
That would be great. That would be to win the Super Bowl in New Orleans would be poetic justice. The only thing that would be better is if we won it 28-3. And if our receivers ran all slants, shout out to Michael Thomas. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So in this first game, and guys in the chat, if you think the Falcons will win 12 games or more, drop a 1 in the chat. If not, drop a 2. If you think the Falcons will win 12 games or more, drop a 1. If not, drop a 2. Again, this is How About Those Falcons at For My ATL Sports 1. Please like, share, and subscribe. All right. So you and I had a little fun before the podcast, and we said we were going to pick who the player of the game was. I'm going to go first, right? Because your answer kind of threw me. So I'm going to go first, and I'm going to say that my player of the game is going to be Mr. Kirk Cousins. That's my quarterback, y'all. That's my T.O. impersonation. And on defense, it's going to be Mr. Jesse Bates and Mr. Justin Simmons. Mama, here goes those men again. All right. Now, there goes those men. Whatever. Bryce, your player of the game and why? Because yours kind of threw me a little bit. So kind of explain to us where you were going with that, if you don't mind.
I'm bad. To be honest with you, I don't even remember who I said.
Right, my bad. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
You good.
So when I asked, right, you said the quarterback of the Steelers, and I think you meant if it's Justin Simmons, it's probably going to be a tougher day. Is that where you were going with it?
Oh, Justin Fields? Yeah.
Yeah.
I said it'd probably be a tougher day.
Yeah, I think you were saying if we got old man Russ, we can probably get back there and maybe take Father Time down a 2 or 3 or 4 times. But if it's Justin, you gotta be a little more on your toes. And scrambling quarterbacks are death to zone defenses because they can run around long enough for a guy to get open. So I get what you're saying. I hope that's not the case. I think that I think the Falcons will win this game, and not because Mike Tomlin is not a great coach, not because Arthur Smith doesn't suck. And let me take a step back. I think Arthur Smith will have a good season this year. I'm not defending Arthur Smith. I'm simply saying that when you graduate from the ranks of offensive coordinator to head coach, the realm of responsibility is a quantum leap. Right? It's not even close to what you have to do as an offensive coordinator to what you have to do for a head coach. And some of these things you have to be able to delegate. You got to know who to delegate to, right? You got to know who you can trust to do certain tasks that you would normally do and who you can't. And ladies and gentlemen, I think we have a late comer to the podcast. It is Mr. Chris A1 Tip Moore.
Enough, man.
Chris,
Chris on here.
how we
What's
doing?
good, family?
All good, man. How you doing?
Man, just moving and shaking around, man. I definitely just had to come on here, show a little love to the fellas. Seeing y'all was doing y'all thing.
I appreciate you.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
Yeah, yeah. How
Hey, we
y'all feeling?
always got room for you, Chris.
Hey,
So
I appreciate it.
let me ask you this question. Since
What's that?
you joined, I got to get my guy's perspective. Chris, in your
Mhm.
opinion, who's going to be the player of the game? It could be player or
Uh,
and
man, it's. I'm sorry, man. It's hard not for me to go with Drake London because I picked him for my X Factor on our show on Wednesday when we was previewing the Steelers and the Falcons. And by the way, shout out to Smitty Birdo, our newest addition, Big Kev. You know what I'm saying, aka Bro Talk. You know what I'm saying. But yeah, man, I got to go with Drake London. On again, I chose him, and I believe that now's the time for him to show that he's the capable number one, man. Again, like he's had a games with 172 yards receiving, 128 yards receiving. Like, so the capability to be a number one receiver is there. And people got to remember he did all that and didn't have Kirk Cousins.
not
Now he has Kirk Cousins, the best quarterback that he has ever had. Yes, I'm including college as well. So
yep.
the best quarterback that he has ever had to get him the football. I expect Drake to, first of all, finally get over 1,000 yards. I'm expecting that, but I'm expecting it not to be on what I'm saying, just to get like barely over 1,000. I'm expecting him to get over 1,100 yards. He has the capability. Kirk Cousins can get him the football. Drake is a big body receiver. Drake is somebody who can, who can basically like post up basketball style, box guys out like a Joey Porter Jr., who I wanna admit, last year, Joey Porter, you really couldn't get a lot of separation from him. He did well. Now I want to see, if he can repeat that. But honestly, I want to see even more if Drake can rattle him. Drake can have a good day on him, show again that he is the number one receiver. I am going to go Drake London. It's time. I know it's time for Kyle Pitts, and I believe Kyle's going to get his touches and everything. But even so, more, I know that Kyle is technically the number one tight end. We got to make sure that we have the number one wide receiver, which we think as Falcon fans that we probably have. It's time for Drake to continue to show. Go ahead, get over 1,000 yards. Go ahead, make a statement in this game. Looking on the sideline at Arthur Smith, looking like, yeah, you ain't use me, boy.
Oh,
We need that stare down image. We need to stare down image. Drake London makes a catch on the Pittsburgh sideline, staring at Arthur Smith.
yeah, we do.
Mhm.
Yeah, we
Wait a
do.
minute, that ain't Jack in the chat.
That is my man Jack in the chat. Yes, that's Jack and Kerry.
Oh, okay. Shout out to her.
Hey,
Kerry and Jack, what it do?
hey, man. Hey, one thing about one time for the fan, we support each other, man. So it's a
Hey man.
it's all good. Um,
Mm.
Bryce.
Look at my boy. I see him. He got the game prediction. Who win? Got the predictions up to the pie chart. He really ain't coming to play.
Well, I learned from the best. Those of you who know Chris and Bryce, really, I've seen some of Bryce's work. And Bryce, just so you don't think I'm BSing you. I noticed that whenever you change subjects, you can always see it at the bottom of your screen. So I know you do graphics as well. That's something
Mm-hmm.
famous for. Whenever like you're on subject one or subject two and you change, I always notice that it changes at the bottom of the screen. So I'm not just giving you
Yeah.
lip. I watch both of you and you guys
That-
both.
that's that's why Bryce get paid the big bucks, man. That's why right there. Right there.
This world,
Mm-hmm.
the rest of us are living in it. Bryce and Chris, is this the year that we see two fast receivers with at least 1,000 yards?
Two Falcon receivers, at least
Yes.
1,000 yards. I think what the last time we seen that was Julio and Roddy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, now that's tough because only because when we had Julio and Roddy, and this is before we got Tony. I feel like it wasn't a whole lot of football to go around. So of course you're giving it to them. I feel like this team has more people to get the football to. So it's a possibility. I do believe that it can happen. If it does happen, that lets you know that the Falcons offense is absolutely explosive. And it can't be stopped. You know what I'm saying? So that lets you know that too. In this day and time, especially if Bijan is still getting his touches, Tyler's still getting his touches, if Ray McLeod is starting to make a name for himself, if Darnell Mooney is saying the Bears just didn't know what the hell they were doing, that's what I'm saying. So it's just like I feel like with this team, we do have it's only one pigskin and we have a lot of weapons. So I believe that it's possible? Absolutely. Well, do I think it will happen? I mean, we just kind of got to see how the course of the season go. We got a lot of weapons. A lot of people got to get their touches, and Kyle Pitts, he got to get his touches. He's in the final year of his contract. I hope they don't try like the force feed, but I do expect him to get a lot of attention, just to for production wise and whatever it is at the end of the season, you're going to get paid accordingly, regardless. So it's possible though. Just answering your question though, it's possible. But it's a lot of mouths to feed. So don't be surprised if it don't happen. Don't be like, oh man, like we only had one guy. No, I'm just saying, as long as everybody is collectively eating and we're winning games, I think that's all we should really care about.
Man, I got 5 mouths to feed. What movie is that from? That's Arnold Schwarzenegger, The Running Man. Man, I got 5 mouths. And he was the feds. He was working for the Fed. No, I'm kidding. Bryce, what say you? 2 receivers with 1,000 yards. What are your thoughts?
I kind of gotta agree with Chris. It's gonna be tough with the amount of weapons and the way they might want to do things and give different people the ball. But if they did have 1,000 yards, it would probably be Drake London and Kyle Pitts.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going.
So it would probably be those two if
Yep.
that were to happen. So it's just we don't know what that's going to be. I mean, Kirk throws for like 4,500 yards. I mean, there's a decent chance we could have to, because especially in this league, passing football. I mean, he only. It's funny, if he didn't get hurt, I would feel confident that last year in Minnesota he would probably have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison both having 1,000 yards.
Yeah,
because Kirk can get the ball to his weapons. He has gotten a lot of receivers paid, so that makes me feel like that can happen. I think if it's going to be Drake, it's going to be Kyle. If it's a big explosive passing year, I think Darnell Mooney might be a close third.
Yeah, I'm gonna say bold prediction, and I make bold predictions all the time, but bold prediction, I'm gonna say Kirk throws for 4,900 yards. And
hey man, if Kurt throws for 4,900 yards, guess what? I'm here for it because did you guys see what they have his over under being as far as like yardage?
No,
they have Kirk Cousins at 3,900 yards.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
They just keep taking that knife in further and further. It's just they won't.
3,900 yards is what they have for Kirk Cousins. Even though he was well on pace for well over 4,000 last year before he got hurt. But so I guess just him. I guess him coming back this year I guess it's just not going to happen, huh?
I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're thinking. Michael says we are sleeping on money. Shouted.
Mooney. I don't think we're sleeping on Mooney. I just think it's a contract year for Kyle Pitts. I ain't gonna lie to you. I expect Darnell Mooney to honestly be, if he doesn't mess around and just be like taking over games and end up being the second lead receiver, I can definitely see the third. And the reason why is because Kurt asked for Darnell. You don't ask for a guy and then don't give him the ball. That's just ludicrous.
Agreed.
So it's just like, so that's why like Darnell Mooney was requested. He reached out to Mooney. He said, come on down here to Atlanta and come play with me. I seen your work. I think you're a good receiver. I just think you haven't had the best quarterback play. Mm-hmm. Come down here and play with me. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead, Bryce. Mooney, I feel like I've always said I think him and Kurt have really good chemistry. You can see it from the training camp. You feel like you always saw a Mooney highlight.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised, even if he doesn't lead in yards, he could lead in catches.
Yeah, and definitely probably even targets.
I could see that.
I'll tell you why I agree with that. Because you're gonna double Drake. Because you're gonna bracket Kyle, especially in the end zone. I would go ahead and predict Mooney probably has more touchdowns than anybody.
He should. He could. I mean, well, he could. He could. Let me change that word. He could.
Potential, right?
As long as he's doing everything that he's supposed to, he could. Absolutely.
Yeah, and lest we not forget, Mooney was technically, according to the metric, the most wide open in the NFL. And honestly, if I'm Kirk Cousins, I'm salivating. Like the most, that means he's literally. I know some receivers say they're always open. He's always open. He's the boy got his own money, as Jack always says. He's always open. Literally, he's like Walmart. He's always open.
Well, don't quote me on the exact number, but if I'm not mistaken, I think Mooney averaged at least, I'm gonna say, in between 6 to 8 yards of separation. And they're saying, like, I don't have none of that stuff in front of me right now, so don't quote me on it. But that's why I'm gonna say between 6 and 8, I think. And it could be a little bit more, could be a little less, but I just know regardless, he was able to get separation. And if he's able to get separation off a receiver, if he get 5 yards off a receiver, that can go to the house, depending on what position and where you at on the field. That can possibly go to the house. So
you hit him in stride, and I mean, dude. Those are Tyreek Hill numbers, right? Like it may get to the point to where you can't double cover everybody, right? That's that.
Yeah, that's one thing you're not going to be able to do. You can't double cover everybody.
Right. So it's our success is really going to come down to I think it's going to come down to McGarry. Can he hold up? The pass, and can
Jake too.
Jake's a savvy. I think Jake will be okay, and honestly, I think McGarry will be okay, especially after seeing him. That's a big mountain of a man. He's just gotta work on those feet. But that's a big dude, man. Like I would not fight. That's a big dude, man.
No, Caleb is huge, man. Caleb is even bigger than you think, because Caleb is bigger now than what he was last year. And I could just seeing him on the sideline. Caleb was a big guy. You know what I'm saying? Caleb has always been a big guy, but seeing him, what he looks like now, I definitely feel like he's added more muscle.
Yes.
But at the same time, like, he's added more muscle, but he's not. What can I say? He's not like big. He's not like super big, like as in girth, I guess you can say, or weight.
Yeah.
He's just like, he looks like he's more solid.
Yeah, he
just looking like he's more solid, and I'm hoping that it translates on the field, because again, don't have the numbers in front of me, but maybe one of you guys can help. Ain't this Caleb last year?
I believe you got me there.
I think he signed an extension last season.
I think he did sign an extension
last season. So we got 2 more years and not 1 more.
I think we have 2, and I'm gonna tell you somebody. Because we do have 2, because his contract ends right when you would think Penix would take over, because remember, he would be Penix's blind side. So he
absolutely not.
That because I
remember that. I ain't gonna lie to you. I like Caleb. I do, because I know. Okay, can we be fair, guys? These guys who coming out of the draft, most of them can do like one thing good, not necessarily both, right? Like, you have a lot of these guys coming out, like they may be really good in pass pro and maybe okay or decent in running. Like, one thing about it, if you want to run the ball, you know that you can depend on Caleb. I'm sorry. You want to run that ball, you know you can depend on him. Same thing with Lindstrom. The only thing about Lindstrom is good in pass pro too.
He's good at everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that was also Jake Matthews at one point in time too. You can definitely say, man, he can do everything.
Yeah.
So with these guys, you know what I'm saying, they're coming out. Everybody can't be Chris Lindstrom or Jake Matthews So we gotta, you know what I'm saying, give him some grace to a degree. But I mean, he gonna have to hold up, guys. We got an awesome test because we got Highsmith coming at us. They just re-signed Cam Hayward, who is from Georgia, by the way. And and they also got TJ Watt.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a great test for the Falcons offense. I just feel like overall, when the game goes on, I believe we can start clicking. I believe we can hit the quick slants, the outs, you know what I'm saying, keep these guys honest,
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I'd agree with that for sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
We're now at the section of the show called Wilt, What I Learned
okay.
Today.
I like it.
What I learned that Russell Wilson may be hurt, and so we may have to deal with Justin Fields, ironic, and Antonio Hamilton may be injured, and Kevin.
Yeah, I don't think Antonio's playing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think one of the Falcons reporter, Mark, he already ruled Antonio Hamilton out for Sunday.
Okay. So
He was backing up D Alford anyway.
Yeah, he was basically Clark and D's backup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So do we think that's going to impact us on game day, or probably not? Like, what are our thoughts around that?
Wait, you talking about Anthony Hamilton being out?
Yeah, Antonio.
No, yeah, my bad. I said Anthony Hamilton. Lord have mercy.
I do it all the time.
No, but Antonio Hamilton, he's like the cornerback 5. I don't think it's gonna benefit. If anything, you can possibly if anything, I'll bring in Natron Brooks. If anything, I know you can possibly say, well, shit, what about Kevin King? Still the guy that was out for 2 years and wasn't seeing football until this year. Natron has been here. Natron has shown. So if you wanted to like bring him up off and then let him play, maybe. But I don't think they're going to do that either. I think they maybe just have the guys that they want, and they'll probably just slide somebody into that slot. Honestly, Russell Wilson. Now, there's a question for you guys. Would you guys rather play Russell or would you rather play Justin?
Right now, I'm going to say Russell.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. I'd probably play Russell just because, like I said, even though Russell moves around, he's not like a threat with his legs to the same extent.
Mm-hmm. And then also, I know he's dealing with that calf. I seen him today. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the practice and everything. He did seem like he was trying to take it easy. He wasn't trying to do too much and everything. So I know he's trying to play and whatnot. And but I wouldn't be surprised if we did see Justin Fields, who is more dynamic with his legs, who the best thing he can do is with his legs. But it's just I don't want I remember what Justin did with the Bears. I know there's no DJ Moore, but they do have a George Pickens. And then like after that, I know it's kind of like a nice drop off. But regardless, you can't sleep on none of these guys, man. You got to go out there and you got to compete. It's going to be some new wrinkles on both ends. You got to iron those out. But as long as the Falcons take care of business, I think we can finally go ahead and take care of these Steelers at home, because the last 15 years with Mike Tomlin just been, my goodness, this ain't been good.
Let's kill the narrative. Let's kill the
narrative.
Yeah,
man. We have to, man. It's time. It's time.
Yeah. This team is too talented. I think we're gonna win this game. I'm not saying it's gonna be like my boy Philip says, and we're gonna beat them 35-10. I'm not saying that, because Philip says that about every. Philip is low key, maybe related to us, because he reminds me of my brother Eric Parker, where you ask Eric how many games are going to win, and he'll be like, all of them. I don't plan to lose ever. And I'm like, Eric, nobody plans to lose. But, that whole undefeated thing hadn't been done in some years, bro. I don't care. I don't plan to lose. All of them. Every year, we have the same argument at the beginning of the season. We'll have it again, because I'll ask him, Eric, what are we going? He'll go 17-0. And I'll go, no, we won't, Eric. You got to be realistic. 12-5. And he's like, we make our own reality. And it's a whole thing. So, Eric, wherever you are, bro, love you. We're not going to go 17-0. He will call me later and curse me out, because that's what brothers do. We rag on each other. That's what we do. All right, so guys, I have a special announcement in regards to a member or a new member of our team here at For My ATL Sports One. Miss
Yeah.
Lisa Shepard, a journalist for Blog and Dirty, is going to
Mm-hmm.
our podcast. Okay.
Hey,
Sure,
Miss
sure.
Lisa, that's a great addition right there, man.
Oh,
I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of her. I'm excited. We've been talking about this thing for quite a while. Looks like we're gonna make it happen.
And
Um,
shout out to Miss Lisa, man.
definitely. Definitely gets at it. Lisa's always traveling. Lisa's very positive. That's one of the things I love. One of the many things I love about her. Always positive. Uh, an idea reservoir. What about this and what about that? And I'm going crazy writing it down. So I'm just really excited about it. Can't wait. The name of our show is going to be ATL with TNL Falcons Sport Talk.
Yeah.
Sports. It's going to be Fridays at 7:30 p.m. Now, there is a little
Woo.
wait to this, and that is, Lisa is busy, obviously traveling the world and doing other things, so she may not be here every Friday. So to the extent that she's not, we won't do ATL Falcon Sports Talk. We'll do How About Those Falcons. So they'll kind of intertwine. Um,
Okay.
that's kind of the way it is, not to confuse anybody, but I just think that Lisa's such a special person. Well, we named the show after she and I, so I'm not going to cheat when she's not here. That's just me. Um,
Nothing wrong with that, man. Well,
yeah,
congratulations to expanding to your show, man.
definitely.
Um, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure the people are gonna come again. You know what I'm saying? You do good content. Lisa does good content. Well, she does good writing and everything too. She's smart and everything as well. Like I am totally behind the show.
Yeah. So
100%, man. Congratulations for that, for sure.
thank you, appreciate that. So one of the things that'll be a little different about the show is, there will be times where Lisa may do a story, okay,
Mm-hmm.
feature it on the show, right? Like I'm just gonna give you a teaser. There
Okay.
is one episode where she's going to interview a fan who got a tattoo after the Falcons lost the Super Bowl. Now that's dedication. Okay. That could
Oh, okay.
y'all remember 28-3. You know,
Yeah.
some folks were
Mhm.
contemplating suicide. Goodbye, cruel world. You know what I mean? And bro, to have the chutzpah, the wherewithal, the intestinal fortitude to buckle down and say, I'm gonna get a tattoo. Yes, I'm hurting. Probably a
Yeah.
little. I don't know. I don't know if she was drunk.
Yeah. I guess that takes a little cojones to do
That,
that.
that takes a stone.
Yeah.
That's a set of stones. So I thought that was interesting. So she's gonna interview that. Um, and it's just one of the things that's gonna kind of make our show a little different. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited for where we can go, what we can build, what we can develop. And of course, you guys both are free to come back anytime you'd like, right? So I'm just throwing that
Well,
out there. I respect both of you gentlemen, appreciate both of you gentlemen for coming. Um, and so now I'm going to do my shout outs. First and foremost, thank you to Bryce.
my
And
bad, y'all. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh. I just seen something, man. Philly fans are crazy. You know how Green Bay has the cheese heads.
yeah,
So this Philly fan made his own cheese head out of the Philadelphia cream cheese.
wow.
Mm, 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 mm.
That,
Ah,
that, that's
woo.
that's
these folks, these folks are crazy.
that, that I mean that I don't even know what to say to that, bro. Like I mean,
Like
like
you go on Twitter, you go on Twitter, you will see it. Dude, Holmes, he going viral right now for yeah, that's his cheese head though. He come in with his own cheese head.
I
I'm
don't
like, hey,
I don't even know what to say to that, man. I know that I'm looking forward to this game. Chris, let me ask you this question.
hmm.
we come out of the first 4 games, and by the way, the first 4 defenses we're going to see are probably going to be really good defensive lines. Really good defensive
Yeah.
lines. Steelers got
You seen Chris Jones last night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that dude is that dude gives me nightmares, man. I'll be honest with you. The Chiefs are the one team that I got a little bit of fear of. I don't fear Philadelphia, and they may have a great squad, but they had a meltdown last year too.
Mm-hmm.
They have pressure too. You better believe that coach was 2 steps away from being fired last year. So they come out 0-3, 0-4. There could be repercussions. There's pressure on that coach. There's pressure on that defense. Also, and somebody brought this up, their center retired. So what's
Yeah.
that they run? The tush push?
One of the best centers in the world.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best centers to touch the gridiron. And Jason Kelsey has retired.
Right.
So,
you
we won't see.
You don't know how effective that's going to be anymore. You don't know how effective because the center was the center of the tush push. He's gone. So you don't know if that play is going to work. I say that to say that Philadelphia is not a given to be great. Do I think they're going to suck? No, I don't. I don't think they're going to be cellar dwellers. But they have a lot of pressure on them. And, look, it's the beginning of the season. Falcons could go in there and get them. Okay. Falcons can definitely get Pittsburgh. They can go in there and get Philly. You beat Kansas City, you're on to something. Okay?
I agree.
City,
especially if Kansas City, especially if you both coming in undefeated and
Yeah.
you beat them. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Like, I mean, the media, if it's not definitive, they'll look for an excuse. Oh, Mahomes didn't do this or whatever, but it really would be a great victory.
The Chiefs lose.
That's exactly what it's going to be. And they're going to be trying to home on over the Chiefs loss. But I know we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I will admit the Chiefs did look good last night. And how much of a blessing is it in disguise to be able to see both of the teams that you have to play next before you even play a game?
It's a definite blessing.
So, take that into consideration as well. On being able to see back-to-back nights your next 2 opponents after your first one. So
that's a good point. That's a
man. That I feel like that's beautiful because us fans, even I'm pretty sure the coaches are doing it too. Because so you always got to start game planning. It's never too early, I believe, to start game planning. But at the same time, it's just beautiful just to have that for us fans to get to look at Kansas City and to see how they use Isaiah Worthy, something that we're going to have to be worried about. To see that Rashid Rice is not missing a beat. He is still that chain moving, playmaking yak getter that he was last year. You know what I'm saying? Travis Kelce is always going to be on the field and always going to be a weapon. So it's just like, it's great to see that. Great to see that defense. You've seen Chris Jones getting after it. You see Trent McDuffie, somebody who I absolutely love at the corner position. And honestly, like, he's still playing great even without L'Jarius Sneed, which I already knew he was a great corner anyway. Like, you've seen that. And then tonight you get to see the Eagles and what they do, what kind of schemes, what kind of coverages they're going to go after, and kind of get in a mindset and a mind frame of just what they may run against us. So it's a beautiful thing. Take that in.
Yep.
Let me ask you guys this question. Is Andy Reid at the point where he's challenging Belichick? He's got 3. I think Bill has 6. Well, Bill has 8, but 6 as a head coach. Andy's been 5 Super Bowls. He's got 3 rings. If he wins another one, or right now, right? Because honestly, the difference in Kansas City has got to be coaching. He won 2 Super Bowls with, very great offenses. Last year, I don't care what anybody says, that defense was the straw that stirred the drink, and the offense took for the ride.
Absolutely, I believe that.
With all that being said, is Andy Reid, is he challenging Belichick, or is Belichick in a world by himself? And Bryce, we'll start with you. What do you say about that?
I mean, I still go Belichick. But I think for Andy, he's had a lot of success. He's had a lot of wins. Because the difference for him is he's having this success later in his coaching career. You know, so he already had. He was already known as a really good coach. He just never won a Super Bowl.
Right.
We know about his offensive play calling, his offensive just ability to always come up with new things consistently. You know, sometimes offensive guys they are creative and then they get stale because they just keep sticking to the same stuff and then eventually the league keeps up. Andy always evolves, always tries to evolve and work with any type of players, systems that he has. And that's why the Chiefs have been so successful and why Patrick and him have been such a great match. If he wins another one, I think you got to start discussing it. Definitely. Because I feel like Andy won't, at least unless something happens, he won't retire until Mahomes retires. Mahomes is still in his 20s. So, you know, Chiefs get a couple more Super Bowls. I mean, it could be where Brady is in a few years if they continue to move forward like this. So, I think one more and you can start having that discussion and you can start being like, all right, is Andy Reid the GOAT? But, you know, until that, he's creeping his way up and getting closer every time they win a Super Bowl, every time they have another great season, every time they continue to, you know, be great, you know, because Chiefs right now are on a Patriot-like run right now.
Yeah. They are. Well, okay. I agree with Bryce. Well, from the standpoint that I'm still going Belichick for sure. I mean, 6 is 6. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know you got 8, but I'm just saying, like, you still get that. But I will say this for Andy Reid: if and for those who, just to Bryce's point too, for those who maybe started watching football, I guess after like 2015, yeah, Andy Reid didn't just start coaching. He didn't just get a coaching job. Go back and look at Philadelphia Eagles, and yeah, he was the head coach for them too, and had success. Didn't win a Super Bowl, but he had success with them. If Andy can win this year, I think you have to start putting him in the GOAT conversation only because winning 3 in a row, y'all. That winning 3 in a row, that has just not been done.
Yeah, that's never been done.
That's just not have been done since the Super Bowl era. So
no. I don't think it's ever been done. Oh,
you remember back in the 60s, I believe, from like 62 to 65 or something like that.
Was it the Packers that did that?
If I'm not mistaken. So that's what I'm saying. Like you before, that's why I said since the Super Bowl era.
Okay.
It has, you know, no one has won 3 in a row.
Yeah, you're right.
So if Andy and the Chiefs are able to do that this year, and God forbid, hopefully they don't, because you know the Falcons have a competitive team this year. But you know what I'm saying, but or at least on paper, you know what I'm saying, they have a competitive team this year. But I'm just saying, how can you not when this man was able to accomplish something that nobody in the modern era has been able to do?
Yeah.
So that's why if he's able to, and these Chiefs are able to do it, you gotta consider him. It's just like I know Belichick still has more, but you gotta like start mentioning Andy Reid more than what we do now.
Yeah, I think Andy's figured it out. I think his coaching staff, specifically Steve Spagnuolo or whatever.
Spagnuolo.
Yeah, I think he deserves a lot of credit. I think he deserves a lot of credit. What he's done with that defense in the past couple of years, especially them winning when they let what's his name, Tyreek walk away. I mean, that's just phenomenal. You know what I mean? I mean, so you know,
Right.
personally, there are some in the league, Shady McCoy, who hate Belichick. I mean, I don't know that he's come out and said it, but if you listen to anything, okay, you know what? Let me not put words in the man's mouth. He seems to not like him. Is that a fair statement? He seems to really feel like Tom Brady was the straw that stirred that drink. And if you look at it, since Brady left, Bill didn't get another one. Bill descended rapidly. Now, I'm not attacking Bill Belichick. That's not what I'm saying. And the only way we could find out is, maybe if Pat Mahomes leaves and Andy Reid wins another Super Bowl, maybe we could say that. But I say all of that to say that there are some who are not convinced that Belichick was the greatest coach of all time. I mean, you got Deflategate, you got the issue with the Rams, you got little bitty things that come up. Now, again, the man has 8 Super Bowls. Okay. Bill Parcells did not win a ring without Bill Belichick. So I'm not going to take anything away from him. He's clearly a superior head coach. But if Andy gets one more and we start talking, I don't know. It's interesting, fellas. That's my thoughts. So
Yeah, that's why I say you're gonna have to start mentioning them more. But like honestly, it'll start turning into a 2-man race, just like how it is. How people are saying, "Oh, can Mahomes catch Brady?" It'll be like, "Okay, can Reed catch Belichick?" This is exactly what it's going to turn into.
I mean,
Because they'll both have 4 then.
yeah, I think. I mean, that's. I don't know, man. Look, hopefully this won't happen this year. But if they win 3 in a row, and that's never been done, does that push Andy closer? Like, let's say Andy only
Absolutely.
gets 5, but he gets 3 in a row. Is that equivalent, or do you have to get that 6th one? Like, how do you
I
feel?
mean, to be the GOAT all time, I think you still at least have to at least tie. So you can be in that situation. I mean, of course, you get 7. Of course, you solo, but at least get 6. You know what I'm saying? You can definitely have that conversation on who was the better coach and all that stuff like that. But just even having 3 in a row again, you have to consider him as one of the best to do it, just because really the only consistence outside of Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce, you know what I'm saying, I guess really is like Andy Reid and Stagnolo. So it's just like, man, they don't have some Chris Jones. But you know what I'm saying? But they've had like turnover here and there. Not everybody has been there for the Super Bowl runs,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, in its entirety.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Outside of like some of the names I just named. So it's just like, a couple offensive linemen, so it just that's tough not to consider him if they win 3 in a row.
All right. Last question, and then I'll let you guys out here. I know I keep saying last question. I cannot think, with the exception of Bill Walsh, who I think started with the 49ers. I can't think of a coach that had a great deal of success that started with it. Well, there was Jimmy Johnson, but a lot of coaches start somewhere and then they succeed somewhere else. So Belichick started with the Browns. He failed. Then he came back. He was great. Andy started with the Eagles. Not that he failed, but he never reached the summit. And he goes to Kansas City and he makes it. Why do you guys think that is? Like what is it about that initial first team that causes most guys to fail? Like why do you think that is? Do you think in most cases you have to experience that to be great, or what do you guys think about that? I know how I feel about it, and it ties into Raheem, but I'm gonna throw it out there to you guys. Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I think for me, I think what happens is that it's hard to be a coach in this league.
Yeah,
And I think sometimes when you get that job for the first time, you kind of come into it and thinking, oh, I know exactly what I want to do here to win.
Hey, I get that.
I was under my last coach or last couple of coaches, and I've seen how they done it. So I'm gonna just do that. Some guys like to try to emulate guys they were under instead of kind of being yourself. You can take things and ideas from a coach or coaches, but you can't try to carbon copy it. That's why a lot of people under the Belichick tree failed, because they tried to be Belichick
There you go.
and not themselves. You could take some things from Belichick, but you can't be him. You cannot just have the exact same system as him. And so I think coaches go through that period where they fail and then they get into another job and think, okay, what did I do wrong? It's like you have to have like an honest conversation with yourself. What did I do wrong? What like I would be a coach in that situation where I asked for feedback from other coaches. Well, what do you think I did wrong? Just so then that way you can understand, and then you work your way back up. You're coming back into that process of trying to get another job in a more humble state of like, if I want a job again, I have to go through this again. I have to grind again. I have to be a coordinator, whatever, a coach again, and work with these guys. And then now I think you have more of a wide open lens to the world of coaching that you may have not had that first time.
Yes. Yes.
Obviously, Raheem's situation, it was different. He was, I think, at the time, the youngest head coach ever.
Yeah. I was about to say, boy, you sound like you talking Raheem Morris comeback story.
Yeah, man. So it's just one of those things where, that's why he's talked about how he's learned so much over just, especially with the Rams. The Rams seem to have really impacted him.
Yes.
When he was there, seeing how McVay was. McVay's one of those guys who was lucky to be a first-time coach and have success. And now he's trying to emulate some of those things, but at the same time, he's not Sean McVay and he's not trying to be Sean McVay. He just says these are certain things, certain foundations that I saw with the Rams that I think we need here in Atlanta to build success. And I think for any coach that goes into that situation, it's about finding, okay, what are just the main principles, regardless of team building? Just like what do we need for this team to be great? What are we looking for? And then you establish identity. Are you a tough? Are you finesse? Are you fast? Are you quick? Is it strategistic? What is it? And then you try to have a coaching staff around you that fits you and fits your mindset and things of that nature, especially with all the relationships you make as a coach in this game. So I think it's one of those things where you just kind of, you're able to take a reflective approach when you get that second job and kind of just be like, okay, what did I do wrong? Because that's why every time a coach gets a second job and he fails, usually he just repeats his first mistakes, and that means he didn't learn from those mistakes.
Excellent explanation.
You hit on so many topics, Chris. I'm going to shut up because I did ask it to the panel, but that was an excellent answer. Chris, go ahead, sir.
No, it was an excellent answer. Really, he outlined everything, a lot of points that I was going to mention. But okay, for you, just for you, my guy T. Will, because I know that you remember this show. It's just like almost like and this is also to cater to Bryce's point about how people tried to emulate Belichick.
Yeah,
it's just like that old show. Remember A Living Color?
Yep.
Remember how when the Wayans left and it was never the same?
Right. Good point. Very good.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, as far as like that Belichick thing, like you can take everything. He can give you all the sauce, all the flavor, all the seasoning, but you're still not Belichick.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're not Bill Belichick. You're a different person. You're Scott Patricia or you're Josh McDaniels or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Like, he gave you all the sauce, yeah, but you still can't make the flavor. You still can't prepare the food like how he did.
Yeah.
And again, like he just, like Bryce just illustrated it wonderful, because like you do have some guys that may have to go from head coaching to have to be a coordinator, and then you have some guys who are lucky, like Andy Reid, to be able to go from being a head coach to, you know what I'm saying, straight to another head coaching gig. Like, you know, not everybody gets that. You know, you better ask Dan Quinn. Ask our head coach right now. So I think it's a humbling thing to where, like Bryce said, what did I do wrong? Yeah. Where did I go wrong? What did I do right? Of course. But what did I do wrong? Because if I fix the things that I did wrong and add it to, you know what I'm saying, and make it a strength, that's when I can start having success. When I have an organization who start making the right moves and we all on the same page, next thing you know, we getting Chris Joneses, we got Pat Mahomes, we putting talent around the quarterback, you know, and you just go and be a winning franchise. It can change some things, man. It just changes things. And I feel like Andy Reid walked out of a good situation into a great situation, into a team that was like, hey, look, man, we ready to win. What do you think? You know, and they really embodied it, and look where they at now, on the brink of, well, not on the brink, but have a chance to not only defend their title, but you know what I'm saying, to win 3. So
Yeah.
it's just like, man, it's just it's crazy. It's crazy to even think that we're even right, that we're even, you know, what I'm saying, in this time to where Andy Reid can possibly even be called the GOAT. When he left Philadelphia, he wasn't even in that conversation. He was just a really good coach. And
Yeah.
now it's a possibility he may be one of the GOATs. That's crazy, but it's wonderful, and it just lets you know how football, or just things in life can change if you're willing to.
You're 100% right. And you guys are both on to something. What I really liked really from both of you guys is you have to be yourself. Well, in order to be yourself, you got to know yourself, right? You got to know the good and the bad. Socrates said first, know thyself, and it is true, right? Um, I'm dramatic. I have a little flair. I'm a little loquacious. I joke at times. Bryce is polished. Bryce is reserved. Bryce is intelligent. Bryce has a sense of humor. I could never be Bryce. Bryce could never be me. Chris has that steel trap, that deadly delivery, that steel pan delivery, but I can't walk into an organization to be Chris. I can't walk into an organization to be Bryce. I got to go in there and be T. Will. Now I can learn. I can take a look at someone's habits, right? I could take a look at Bryce's habits. I could take a look at Chris's habits. I could see why they succeed. And by the way, John, how you doing? John and Mike from Out of Your Falcon Mind.
Sir, out of your Falcon
Yes,
mind. They back too. They
sir.
back too, man. They back. They had did a show together. It was
Yeah,
wonderful seeing the fellows back, man. Always great seeing them two together, especially, you know what I'm saying, Mike being back. It was wonderful. Great show. Great show.
Mike is
Looking
hilarious.
forward to more.
Mike,
Yeah, that's my guy right there, man.
had John on our show, and John said it best. John said Mike is one of one, and he is.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
in all seriousness, I think, and to tie this back to Raheem, he was a coach 32 years ago. He has coached under some of the greatest minds, offensive and defensive, in the world. He's categorized this information. He put it together. He looked at where certain organizations went wrong. He was on the precipice of having a championship with the Falcons, and they decrescendoed into the abyss, literally. Okay, it killed that team. I don't care what anybody says. The Falcons, Matt, Julio, they were never the same. They were never the same. You can fool yourselves if you want to. There are some things you don't get over until you get past it, until you go back and hit that rung, until you go back and win that Super Bowl, until you go back and do whatever it is that you missed. You're not going to get past it. And these Falcons never did. And that I like Raheem being there because he was a part of that, but he was also a part of success. He went out to LA and won a ring, right? He studied under McVay. He learned under Monty Kiffin, the father of the Tampa 2 defenses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Studied
Mm-hmm.
under Mike Shanahan, right? He studied under
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Shanahan. He has studied under some of the greatest defensive and offensive minds in the world, and he is the most articulate, charismatic person I've ever seen. And some things are just synergy and timing. And
That's it.
I think that this time I think he's going to get it right. I really do. To all of the news pundits out there saying, well, he failed, at his first head coaching gig. I think it's bad when you're so desperate to make a point that you just pander, right? Because if and I say that from the perspective, if we're talking about 5 years, that's fine. This was 15 years ago, right? Do you remember what you were doing 15 years ago, Bryce? Chris, do you remember what you were doing 15? I don't. Now I'm old. Okay, so maybe you guys
I ain't
do.
gonna lie. I remember exactly where I was at 15 years ago, and I'm just glad I ain't there no more.
And well, I don't. Okay, but my point is, 15 years is a quantum leap. I mean, it's a whole universe away, right? The man has learned, probably forgot more things in those time than others have learned. So my point is, all of this came together for this time right now. I think Raheem is a totally different coach, And I think this year is the beginning of Raheem and the Falcons walking into their destiny. And maybe, if we're lucky, their dynasty.
Woo. And with that being said, cue the drums and the piano. You got a shot after that one a little bit.
Oh, man. All right, guys. This has been so much fun. I appreciate you guys.
Yo, Uncle Steve, what up? What up? What up?
I did you right. Let me go back to Uncle Steve. My bad. Uncle Steve, how you doing, man? Hopefully all is well. Let me go back to your comment and feature you. Thank you for that, Chris. What up, T. Phil, Chris, and Bryce? Can y'all believe we are under 40 hours from kickoff? No, I'm excited about it. I've lost sleep. I probably won't sleep Saturday going into Sunday because I'll be so excited. I'll be at the game. Bryce, are you coming down, or what game are you going to? You coming to this game, or what game are you going to?
I gotta see, because it's just work. I work weekends usually, so that's usually the problem.
Yeah.
So I gotta see what I could get to, if anything. But I'll definitely try to see for sure.
Well, hey man, we can see you there, Chris. I know you will be there.
I'll be there.
This is the time for shout outs. So Bryce, tell us what you're doing. Tell us where we can find you. I know I did it at the beginning of the show, but that was an hour and a half ago, and some folks have forgotten, and maybe some folks weren't here. So tell them where they can find you. Tell them what you're doing, and let's do that. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you letting me come on. Follow me on Twitter, Bryce_2K. You can follow me on all platforms, even YouTube as well. I'm also host of the Believe in Hawks podcast, my Atlanta Hawks podcast that I do for the Believe Podcast Network. Available on any podcast platform for anybody who wants to do the video or audio. You can find it on multiple places. And yeah, like I said, just keeping up, covering the teams, and hopefully, we have a good conversation on Sunday about the Falcons winning against Pittsburgh Steelers for sure.
That would be awesome. And guys, let me tell you something about Mr. Bryce. Mr. Bryce does the work. Did the podcast with him during the Hawks, and just about everything that he predicted came true. And he's a little like Berto Damas in that way. And I'm sorry, Bryce. Damas. I can't do that. That's taken by Berto, so we got to come up with another name for you. But he's good at his craft. He does the work, he does the research, and we're lucky to have him. And again, sir, thank you for joining us. Chris, tell us about what you're doing this weekend, man, because I understand that you're going to be at the game in a different capacity. So can you tell us, what are you going to be doing? And also tell us where we can find you.
Well, I'll be working with Fox Sports, man. I'm gonna be helping out with a little production, man. Also, learning a few things. Trying to make myself valuable. This will be my 3rd year freelancing with Fox Sports now. So, hey, I'm thankful because they gave me more games to work this year. This is the most games I'll be working so far. I'm working 5 games with Fox total. So this week, I believe I'm going to be in the booth. I'm not going to be on the sidelines. A little bummed by that, but hey, I'm just happy about the opportunity ultimately. And I'm going to be kind of shadowing Joe Davis, and they switched up the crew a little bit. So apparently, it's going to be Greg Olsen now. So that'll be great. That's going to be great right there. So yeah, got that going. Also been keeping some things to myself, also going to be freelancing going forward with NBC.
That's awesome.
So yeah, man, they gave me a call and said, "Hey man, what you think?" And I said, "I think yeah." So that's going to be another thing. So now that's Fox, CBS, and NBC, just trying to work them up, and it'd be nice to get ESPN next and hopefully be at the Chiefs game. You never know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so right now it's a total of 6 games I have. Because the Thursday night football game against the Buccaneers, when they come up here, I'll be at that one too. So I'm just working and appreciative of the opportunities, and I'm also reaching out, just try to gain more opportunities and everything too, because I feel like I can never have enough. So that's really what's going on there. Of course, outside of that, A1 Forever Sports, that's always the brand, the platform. Still gotta have 3 drawstring bags left out of 15. I'm grateful for the people that reached out and purchase some. I really appreciate that. Definitely going back to the well to get more merch for people who want it. Because again, I appreciate it because I believe no one has to do anything for you. So I'm grateful and always humble anything anytime anybody clicks on any of my stuff, purchases any merch that I have. So I appreciate that. um, of course, you already know the 95 North Sports Machine gonna be rolling all season long, regardless. Pre-game, post-game, we're gonna be doing that. Of course, we've moved to Wednesday nights on the pre-games, just because on Tuesday nights now, Smitty and or Berto sometimes is on the NFC roundtable, and that's by Bet US. So that's another thing going on. It's just opportunities just popping up all around. The fellow Smitty and Berto, they also are part of a fantasy league right now too, that you can still, I think, possibly join. Don't quote me, but I believe it may be a $25 buy-in now if you're trying to join if you didn't beat that deadline. But that's just another opportunity. So shout out to those fellas, man. We all got different opportunities coming up. Um, that's what it's all about. At the beginning of the year, I was saying 2024 growing season. And honestly, we all been growing, and that's including you two brothers. And I've been watching you guys work. You guys continue to, flourish. You guys continue to grow, elevate yourselves, because you definitely have the capabilities to accomplish whatever you want to. I really mean that. So, so y'all fellas, so just keep with the grind. We all gonna keep with the grind. And shoot, man, that's really all I got, man. Just oh, and of course, find your peace. If you ain't found it today, make sure you do that because positive energy always creates elevation. That's all I got.
Amen. Hey, number one, Chris, I appreciate you, brother, as always. Guys, Chris did all my videos, all my designs. So did my logos, did everything. Look, holla at your boy because he's great. Secondly, I want to thank Mr. Bryce Lewis and Mr. Chris A1 Forever because you guys came in, spent an hour and 40 minutes with me, and you didn't have to. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your wisdom. I just thank you for the opportunity to come and do this because you didn't have to. Secondly, I want to thank all of the wonderful fans in the chat. I want to thank Carrie. Carrie's been here the entire time, and I believe Carrie's got to catch flight. So, she didn't have to do this. I appreciate it, Mr. Jack Spade. I want to thank you, sir. Thank you for coming in here, spending your time supporting me. Jack has been the ultimate mentor. I cannot thank him enough. I appreciate you. Thank you to Uncle Steve. Thank you to Out of Your Falcon Mind. Thank you to Michael. Thank you to I'm missing somebody. Deke and Mike again. Thank you all. I appreciate you. All Falcon fans in general. Lastly, I want to thank God. I appreciate. I would not be here without him. And guys, let's go, man. This has been. Let me tell you something. My father passed in 2020. My niece passed in 2023. She was 15. She's a special needs child. But anyway, she passed. My mom passed this year. So I say all that to say tomorrow is not promised to anybody. Guys, anybody within the shout of my voice, get out there and do something. Whatever your passion is, whatever you are moved to do, go ahead and get it. Do not be afraid. Do not stop. If you succeed, great. If you don't, that's good too. But at least you tried. Man, I'm excited for this Falcon season. I think we're going to do great things. I don't know that this is the year, but dang it, I'm here for the ride. And with that, guys, I'm going to close. I'm going to wish you guys a great evening. And hey, man, you guys can always feel welcome to come back. And you got an open seat on my podcast, and that's any of them. So thanks, guys. Thanks for joining me again. Fans, you guys have a great day and rise up.
Sir.